All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to Puck Rock Rangers, episode 5. I'm Stefan, this is Palmer, and we got a good amount to talk about, so let's get into it. All right, so we have something very unsettling to speak about today. Before we get into it, we just want to check in with you guys and tell you what's been going on with us. Um, Palmer, what you had going on this week? Anything fun, exciting, sad, anything?
Um, Nothing sad on like a personal note that if was directly involved with me. Just been busy working, playing music. I'm trying to get a new hardcore band off the ground. And that has its challenges trying to get everyone's schedule lined up and the music right and all that. Just living life, working, waiting for Rangers hockey to start up. Stefan's not a big football fan, but today is the opening Sunday of the NFL. More importantly, fantasy. Had my fantasy draft and just kind of excited. That means hockey's right around the corner. So
All right. Yeah, it's been a long week for me. My girlfriend, her grandfather passed away. So we had to drive up to Pennsylvania and do all the family stuff, hang out with them and, go to the funeral, just doing all that stuff. It was kind of sad. He was a very great man. Uh, One of those guys who's just like the staple of the community. Didn't have a bad bone in his body. So yeah, it was sad and it was a little bit of a handful trying to have the kids up there with it and stuff. But yeah, that happened. And other than that, not a whole lot going on, just working and living and doing everything that I've been doing. So we want to talk about the Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau situation. It is a tragedy that struck the NHL community. Their sudden passing has been a very, very sad time for a lot of people. And we just want to kind of give our condolences to the family and give our thoughts on the situation and, all that stuff. So, yeah,
yeah, this news rocked the NHL world. The timing of it was suspect. We did not have an opportunity to cover it on the last episode. We recorded on a Thursday. That incident happened on a Thursday, like hours after we wrapped up. So this is really the first you're hearing from us on it. A lot of stations, shows, people's pundits, a lot of people have covered it and spoken. We've all had about a week now, or a little over a week, to kind of digest. It sucks. It's a tragedy. It's a big time hockey player. It's brothers. It hits you on a personal note. I mean, I'm sitting here with, Steph and I are 2 years apart. We're brothers. That's very similar. We've experienced loss. I won't go into that, but if you know, you know. It's a tough situation. It hits on a lot of different levels. I think Stefan said it last. We were talking about Tony D'Angelo, and Stefan made a comment that these guys are humans. We see them as gladiators and warriors and sometimes scumbags or whatever, heroes. But these guys are people, and they have families. And, Johnny had 2 kids. We're finding out after the fact that his brother, Matthew, had a kid on the way. I mean, the more details come out, the worse it is.
yeah, for sure. Um, I like to think I'm a little bit more of a stoic minded type person, but when something like this happens, it really does find a way to bring the emotions out. Uh, Johnny Gaudreau was a year younger than I am, and he has 2 children that are the same age as my children, and the details of it, just all the details, just really, it really hit me. It was like it like pretty much gutted me. Um, it was heart wrenching because I could not imagine uh my children going through that type of situation and my girlfriend having to go through that type of situation as well. what was supposed to be a very happy, joyous weekend just turned into a complete devastation for an entire family. And I'm not gonna cap and say that I was the biggest Johnny Gaudreau fan because, I wasn't. I wasn't, super into him. I didn't know a whole lot about him as a hockey player. I mean, I know he was a stud. I know he was a great one, but I wasn't super in depth with his stats and being. I wasn't a follower of him. But when this news broke, a piece of it just hit me so close to home, and it really kind of just had me real sad for a few days. Which brings me to the next thing is the nature the nature of how it happened. Uh, a man drinking and driving.
I'm not going to cut you off, but just there's a million words you could throw out there, but just so unnecessary. It didn't have to happen. And I'll let you get back to your point, but it's so unnecessary.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it's avoidable and it should have never happened, but it did. And what makes matters worse is this guy mowed him down, and they were on bicycles. He mowed him down, and he's seen in court, and the only thing he says when he's in court is, "So I'm in here till Thursday."
Yeah,
Like,
that video was going around, and what Stefan's talking about, if you haven't seen it, there was a video going around of I think like the next morning or
the
whatever. It was
arraignment.
his sentencing or his arraignment, and the judge basically told him because of the holiday and the weekend, 48 or 72 hours, 3 days becomes Thursday for him. And I think that was Friday morning. And yeah, his response, it didn't seem. I'm sure deep down somewhere there's remorse, but he seemed just irritated or agitated that he had to be there that long. And I got news for you, buddy. You're gonna be there a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's in there for a good long time. I'm sure that, it will hit him eventually if it hasn't hit him already, that his life is drastically changed in a moment's time. Um, Maybe he just doesn't realize the severity of what he actually did. But come on, like, you have to be a whole other type of piece of shit to just act like you don't care at all when you claimed two human beings' lives and destroyed a family.
Countless others. The family, the sister's wedding. I know it's just not just a wedding, but you know what I mean. Compared to a life, it's just an event. But I mean, the more you look into it, the more details, like I said, that come out, the worse it is. And it was just unnecessary. Beyond just the driving drunk, which is inexcusable, shouldn't do it. Call an Uber, call a Lyft, call a friend, walk, ride a bike. Seriously, there's so many options. But he was recklessly driving. He was passing a car on the shoulder because I guess the guy wasn't moving fast enough. It's just that's why I say the more details, because the more you dig into it. I had a rough week dissecting this, because there's a lot of human element. Anytime a sports figure passes or celebrity passes, in our world, there's, usually memes and shit talk. I haven't seen anything, man. No one's dunking on this. You can't. It's awful. And I don't think anyone that sees this, is just mad to it. The hockey world's shaken by it. We lose a superstar, a likable guy. Steph and I aren't giants. You like the guy for that. He was undersized, like a Zuccarello type, just a. It's awful, man. It's awful. And this is not a Gaudreau jersey, but we wanted to show some respect. This is actually a Rick Nash jersey, but it's the only thing I had that kind of represented. Show some love to some Metro rivals, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and out west, the Calgary Flames. We know you guys are feeling it too. Mm-hmm. So, Ranger fans who you guys were NHL fans, we're fans of these people, first and foremost. So just want to send out some love and maybe, we don't have to move on right away from it, but kind of cast some love out. When a bad thing happens, maybe some good can come from it, a lessons learned. But man, what a fucking shame. I'm just gonna say it, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say. I kind of gave my piece. It sucks. That's just plain and simple. It just sucks. So that is what it is. And at this point, I don't know if it's too soon or not, but it's now's the time to grieve, and then hopefully something good can come out of it. What that might be, I don't really know, but even the sun shines on a dog's ass every once in a while. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping maybe somebody out there partying saw this happen, and maybe they're like, you know what, this is way more serious than I thought. Maybe some good can come of it. Yeah. So before we move on, we do just want to give our condolences to the family, the loved ones, the people, the friends, just everybody who cared about this guy. We really do feel bad for you guys, and we'll keep you in our thoughts. Um, yeah. So, do you have anything else you want to talk about on it? Touch on it?
No, I mean that's all been well said. There's been a lot of shows and other people that have discussed it. Some tribute videos. If you haven't dug into those, I encourage you to. A lot of them are really great. And it's one last thing I'll say, and this is maybe a selfish point, but what if this was a Ranger? And I know it's bigger than that, but the amount of empathy and sadness I've felt, sympathy I guess would be a better word, for those fan bases, just on the hockey front. What if this was, I don't even want to put a name out there, but like it's just terrible, and it didn't have to happen. And it's I think any one of us would have taken those moments back if we had any control over it. But yeah, and if I sound shaken, I am. It's hard to talk about. It's an emotional subject, but yeah, R.I.P. We're sending out some love from us to you guys, and just hang in there, hockey fans.
Yeah, for sure. So, I don't really know how to segment into the rest of the show. It was a pretty heavy intro for us.
Okay, good night.
Yeah, so have a good week now.
Just kidding.
But yeah, we do have some things that we'd like to speak about that are relative to the hockey world. That's not devastating news like that. For starters, we do want to talk about Mark Stahl. Mark Stahl was a Ranger, and he played 17 seasons in the NHL. He just announced his retirement this week, and the Rangers decided that we were going to scoop him up and give this guy a job. And if you were to ask me about it, I think it's a good move. I hope he exceeds and excels at the job. The Rangers somehow have a knack for messing up prospects. They do not help the prospects develop the way that they could. You see people always debating Kakko, whether he needs to stay, whether he needs to go. Kakko, prime example. The Rangers did not develop him the way they should have developed him. Alexis Lafreniere, people were getting ready to toss him in the trash last year. Luckily, he had a breakthrough season. He came in clutch, and people are starting to change their tune on that one. But just big picture, the Rangers, they have a prospect issue. They have great talent in the prospect pool, but when it comes to the development, they always seem to lack a little bit. And Mark Stahl has been hired as the development coach, I believe.
Yeah, or at least on the staff. I'd have to look and see if there's other people in that position. But yeah, he's been brought in as a, helping out with player development. And what a guy to do it. You want to look at his career. I remember when he was a Ranger, and he was getting to that midpoint, maybe a little older. And actually, I was a Mark Stahl fan, but there were Ranger fans out there that thought he was a little washed. And I don't know the numbers, but he went on to play maybe 10 more seasons after the Rangers, or like close to it. So good on him. Always thought he was a good Ranger, good and dependable. I think back then I look at it, I think Ranger fans wanted a little more offense from Mark Stahl. I look back at that era, I wanted more offense from everyone. And I can't blame a second line defenseman for that. So I think it's a good pickup. And to build on what Stefan was saying, the Rangers have had a problem with player development. And some of that I'm going to blame on a cloud that has been cast over the Rangers for several years. And that cloud has now moved on, and that name is Glenn Sather.
The curse of Glenn Sather.
Glenn Sather, respect to what he's done. I mean, honestly, who am I to talk about that guy? But, he won his cups in Edmonton. And, I mean, he's a legend, So I say what I say with respect to him. But he's also a dinosaur. and we just needed to move on from that. And now I think he's moved on to where he's not even attached to the team or really kind of behind the scenes pulling any switches or anything anymore. And I think that'll help. Our track record with him with player development sucked. We can trust, hopefully Drury will right that ship. And it starts already with the coaching staff. This is episode 5. We talked about Laviolette, and we actually haven't talked about the coaching staff. And I wanted to take a second to show some love. Dan Muse, Michael Pekka, and help me out, Phil Housley.
I like Mike Pekka.
I like Mike Pekka too. And just a little personal thing on Mike Pekka. My sister and I used to play a hockey video game and used to laugh at his name and call him Mike Pecker. And he was an Islander, so it was just easy to do that. An easy joke to make. And now he's a Ranger, so it comes back to haunt me. I can't call him Mike Pecker anymore. Now he's Mike Pekka. Don't say it wrong.
you throw some respect on that name.
I will throw some respect on that name. I like these guys, man. I can't think of a Rangers head coach that I like this much as I like Nixon, and a supporting crew, really. I mean, Gallant, and I'll end my rant soon on this, get back to the Mark Stahl thing, but Gallant had this guy, that guy, and the other guy was his assistant coaches. I love this staff. I trust Drury, even though he's kind of had a meh off season. But I trust we're moving the ship in the right direction.
Well, I mean, it was a meh off season, but this team's been in cap hell. If you look at the cap space they have, they don't even have enough cap space to bring in a 13th forward. Like they don't have it. They don't even have enough to pay a player the league minimum for a whole season right now. So they're in absolute cap hell, and I like to think that Drury's doing the best he can. When you look at how Laviolette did, they brought in Laviolette, and the difference in the way the prospects are developing is already night and day. Laviolette's just been giving, younger players a little bit more leash. And if you look at the results, look at Will Cooley, Roger Klotz. Roger Klotz, he had a phenomenal first season. Like we talked about, Lafreniere had a little bit extra leash, and what happened? He had a knockout season. He brought in Rempe, turned into a cult hero in a matter of one face-off. So, yeah, the coaching staff so far seems promising. I like the addition of Mark Stahl, and hopefully he can just keep it going, and we can see some more of these young guys really take off. I know I'd like to see Othman in the lineup this season, at least a little bit. I don't know a whole lot about Berard, but all the things that we hear about him seem promising too.
Those are the two big ones you hear about that people are pretty high on, is Berard and Othman. I mean, I always root for the kids. I'd love to see both of them make it at some point. So we'll see how that unfolds.
Well, I think it was episode 2. You were on a little bit of a rant, and you're like, give Zach Jones a chance. I mean, don't get me wrong. Gustafson had a great season, but you got to go with the youth. You got, and you're right. You got to go with the youth. You got to give these guys a chance because they're the future. It's just like with school. You gotta, like with schooling. You gotta rely on the youth to become the next generation. So we got to put a little trust in Laviolette and this new coaching staff and see what they can do for these guys. Let's get into the. Oh yeah, I do want to say real quick. My girlfriend, her name is Megan, and Megan, if you're watching, Too
many ums.
You want to say a few ums for her?
I'm sure I'm dropping them all over the place, so I'll just keep them peppered in.
All right. Let's get into a little debate. Palmer was watching a show and he saw something that kind of interested him. What do you remember? Which show it was?
Yeah, it was a channel I enjoy quite a bit. Fireside Rangers. Always enjoy what those guys have to say.
Yeah, I watch them too.
And they did it wasn't like a tense debate, but they did a loose debate on who is the true 1C, Mika or Trocheck. And I think we're gonna mix it up. I don't know that we're gonna debate who is the true 1C.
You can pick it up.
No, it's all good. We're rolling, baby. We're rolling. But we will kind of do pros and cons. I'm gonna make a case for Troch. Stefan's gonna make a case for Mika. These are both guys we like, so I'm not shitting on either one of them really, but just kind of compare and contrast and maybe discuss who could emerge as the 1C or who's kind of a more impact player at this point, at this juncture. I'll let you start.
Okay, so you want me to plead my case, and then you'll come with a counter argument?
Yeah, we can just shoot the shit. You're on Team Mika, I'm on Team Trocheck.
I am on Team Mika. So Mika is my 1C for sure. Troch is a close second. I love Trocheck, so don't get me wrong. But gun to my head, Mika or Troch, who am I picking? I'm picking Mika Zibanejad. If you look at the track record, he's just been a complete animal. After Chris Kreider, he is second on the team for most points, most goals, all that good stuff. He's a complete package when it comes to a two-way forward. He's a utility knife. He does the power play. He does the penalty kill. He's defensively responsible. Everything about Mika with me just resonates, and I think that he is a good 1C. I don't think that you could find 30 other players in the league that you would say are better than, or 30 other centers in the league that are better than Mika. I think he's easily in the top 15 or top 20 centers in the league. So, yeah.
Yeah, and that number could go up. Mika's coming off of, I'm reluctant to really call it a down season, but by his standards, a down season.
It was a down season.
Didn't score a lot of 5-on-5. And that goes into why I'm on Team Troch here. When I look at where these guys are in their career, who I'd want to go into battle with, it's Trocheck. Trocheck has that Brad Marchand-like element to his game. Mika does not. Mika very rarely sticks his nose in it, very rarely plays those mind games with other teams. It's kind of skill versus will here. And I think will, always prevails. And trajectory. We just talked about Mika's kind of last two seasons, frankly. He was on fire that 2021 season. He scored like 41 goals. He hasn't been the same player since. We bring in Trocheck. His first season was good, not great. His second season was a home run. Career highs across the board. Like I said, he sticks his nose in. He's got his teammates back. Just for his size, he's a complete menace. There's a lot to like. The face-offs, he's better at face-offs than Mika.
You got me there.
And I think we'll see a little bit more of a disparity between these two players if you see Power Play 2 get a little more time, which I do predict that for this year. I think they won't be as top heavy. And I like Mika. There's a lot to like about both of these guys, but right now who I'm taking into battle, man, it's gotta be Troch.
What I want to know is, how can you go against your twin? How can you go against your twin, Mika?
And you almost at times with the mustache could kind of favor Troch.
I got a little bit of a schnoz, so I guess
to get you to slick the hair back and
like Megan always says that Trocheck is her handsome man. She's claimed Trocheck as her Rangers crush, and I think that boils down to that he has me and Trocheck have a couple little. I don't want to slight Trocheck that much, but I think we both kind of have that like big nose handsomeness, you might say. I also want to say that how could you not go for a player with such grace? Like Trocheck, he is a tough guy. He's not huge, but he is gritty. He'll get in the hard to go areas. But when you watch Mika skate, his hair just flaps in the wind. He's fast. He's light on his feet. He's just such a gracious player. So it's hard for me to go against that. And not to mention, the only thing that I can say that I have not really liked about Mika is basically his one-timer went a little stale. Like, these guys keep trying to feed him the one-timer on the power play, and it just, for this past season, it just was not working, and they tried over and over and over again. You can't put that 100% on him, but aside from that lacking in this past season, like I think maybe he just had a down season. He was a new dad. He's tired. Things happen. But I think personally, Mika's going to have a bounce back season, and we're going to see the Mika that we all know and love. And if that happens, then it'll be hard for Palmer to plead his case on why Troch is going to be the true 1C, unless Troch also has another record breaking season, which is hard to do back to back. So we'll just have to play it by ear and see how that goes. I stick with my story. I'm staying with Mika as the true 1C. I just think he's a stud, and it'd be hard for me to go against him.
Something I'd say, and I'm going to play off of what Stefan was just saying. I'm going to make a case for both guys, and what I like is Stefan said he likes Mika's grace, and he likes the poise, and I agree. I think there's a time and place for that, and I like the grit, and I know Stefan does too, and the pestiness and the intensity of Trocheck's game. And where I'm going with this is I would like to see both players take a little from each other. I would like to see a little more grace and a little more finesse and a little less, bullshit penalty taking and post shots from Trocheck. And on the other side of that, the other shoe, I would like to see a little more grit and a little more heart and a little more just pesky. Like Mika's just too nice, and I'm a nice guy, so maybe I struggle with that too. But Mika's just too nice. Like it's almost like dodgeball. Someone needs to throw a wrench at Mika.
I don't know, man. Like this season, it seemed like he was getting into it a little bit. Like maybe not the second half of the season so much, but if you watch Mika in the first half of the season, it almost seemed as if every little scrum he was right there and he was stink eyeing the other players. And I wasn't used to that, but every time I saw that, I was like, "Get him, Mika! Get him, Mika!"
Look, I'm not saying Mika is a wimp or anything close to that. I'm a big Mika fan, but you're sitting in a bar and some guy's talking shit to you. Who are you hanging with right now? Mika's Zibanejad or Trocheck? Trocheck. You and him are getting mugshots later that night. Where Mika, who knows what he'll do?
He'll bail you out.
Mika's gonna be behind the DJ booth.
He'll be like, "Hey, get these guys out of here."
Mika's home with his baby.
Yeah. I don't know. I hate this argument. I hate this.
Yeah, these are both guys we like. So
I wasn't prepared to get into this with you, but I hate it. It's apples to oranges. They are two completely different players.
It's a good problem to have, really.
They both have their role, and they're both studs. They're both fantastic. So I really don't appreciate going into this with you, because if I had to pick both, I don't know what I would do. If they were like, we're gonna trade one, like just I'm turning the TV off. I don't want to know.
Well, and the beauty of it, you don't. That's a fake scenario. You don't have to pick one. They're both on the team, and yeah, like we like both these guys. It's a good problem to have, and I hope in a perfect world they both have career seasons. And I said in episode 1 or 2 that I thought Mika was set for a bounce back year. So, like both these guys, we can move on from it, and hopefully they both kick a lot of ass this year. All right, so one of the last things we're going to cover this week, or this episode, is a lot of you guys saw this, I'm sure. The NHL put out a list of the top 20 ranked defensemen.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a lot of, heavy hitters. There's a lot of good names on that list. But one thing that stood out, I'm sure, to me and a lot of Ranger fans is Adam Fox was all the way down to 8th. And I'll just come out and say, I think that's absolute bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be a Ranger homer, but at the same time, the guy's got a Norris. He's one of the smarter players in the game. And I just don't think you fall that low. He was dinged up this offseason. I guess that's probably a big part of why he fell down to 8th. But they got guys in front of him that don't deserve to be there. And just saw that come out and wanted to react to it. This is a Rangers show. We got to pump our guys' tires. Even after a down season and an injury season, he's top 5 at least.
Yeah, for sure. Even it was clear as day that he was playing with some issues, some health issues. But even with his health issues, like how do you find the audacity to put other players like Victor Hedman and Rope Hintz in front of him when he, he's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest. He's not any of that stuff, but he is one of the smartest players. And the way, even with the injury, he would walk the line and make things happen. I don't see how they could place him so low on that list. It's a little bit ridiculous to me.
It's criminal, and Stefan said his name. They got the corpse of Victor Hedman, number 3 on the list. That's bullshit. What about Roman Josi? I'm not even talking about Rangers. Like, what? Come on, Victor Hedman had his day. I like him. I like the Lightning enough, so I'm not just shitting on him. But this list is crazy. I'll just read it actually. Starting with 1, Cale Makar. No arguments there from me.
Nope.
Yeah, I think he's established himself as the best defenseman. Number 2 on the list is Quinn Hughes. You got Victor Hedman, number 3. Roman Josi, number 4. That's an easy swap-a-rooney. Miro Heiskanen, number 5. Gustav Forsling, number 6. That's got to be recency bias. The kid,
he was underrated.
He's awesome. He's awesome, but he's not better than Adam Fox. I'm sorry. Charlie McAvoy, who would probably tell you Adam Fox is better than him. Adam Fox at 8. Evan Bouchard at 9, and Devon Taves at 10.
Yeah.
How is Nero Heiskanen above Fox? It's total recency bias. Hopefully it lights a fire under the Rangers and Fox, and they prove everyone wrong this year. And he can get back to where he should be, which is 2 or 3. You can debate between Quinn Hughes and him. It should be Makar, Quinn Hughes, and Fox would be the 2, 3.
Yeah, just depending on the season and how the season goes for those 2 players.
Yeah.
There's no question about Makar, but with those 2 players, they're easy second and third. That could be interchangeable depending on how they're playing at the time. All the rest of it is bullshit.
Yeah, overall, it's not a terrible list, but that stood out, obviously, as a Ranger fan. And I'm trying to be objective about it. I mean, the man's got a Norris. I think I said that. One of the smarter guys. I just thought that was really ridiculous, and just wanted to spend a second to say, fuck that. We know better than that. So.
Get him.
Hey, I got him. That's it.
Oh.
We'll be all right. We'll be all right.
All right. So I think that's going to do it for us today. We talked about a good amount of things. We usually like to keep our videos to 20 or 30, maybe between 30 and 40. I feel like we went over that a little bit today, but we had to give the rightful mentions to the subjects at hand. So I don't have anything else. Do you?
Actually, yeah, I do. Real quick, not to throw a ton of things at the viewers right at the end of the video, but we don't have a musical guest or feature this week. But I did want to shout out a hardcore band out of Philadelphia called Zorn. Zorn. Zorn is awesome. They have a bunch of music out wherever you can get it. They played Richmond on Wednesday, and it was a good time. Got to hang out with the guys afterwards and meet them. And the singer comes out to the stage in a coffin. And I was actually lucky enough to carry the coffin or be one of the guys. I was a pallbearer.
You were a Palmer bearer?
I was a Palmer bearer. I'll have to change my name. So just wanted to shout them out. Zorn out of Philly. Check them out. If you like heavy hardcore punk. They're definitely on the punk side too. Weird, vampiric hardcore. So just wanted to shout that out. Thanks for all the views and support. Please like, follow, subscribe, comment. Write us your questions. We want some engagement. Want to hear from you. So,
yeah, I just want to second on that. Please like the video and please subscribe to the channel. We never mentioned this before, but our goal is to monetize this channel eventually, and we don't want to monetize it so we just have extra money in our pocket. We want to take whatever proceeds we make off this channel, and we want to reinvest it into trips to go watch the Rangers play and maybe document some of the games and trips that we take. We want to just be able to use that money to go do Rangers related things and inevitably make more content and different kind of content for you guys. So please like and subscribe to all our videos and to the channel. And if you want to see our shorts, you can go and watch. We make little short clips. You can go on TikTok. We got Instagram. We got a Twitter, and we post little tidbits on all of those as well. So check us out on Spotify if you don't really like the YouTube thing. And other than that, I got nothing else. You?
Nope.
Forever hold your peace.
Till next week
All
or
right,
time.
Take care, guys.